Welcome to the third episode of the Olive Focus podcast with me, Olaole Bikune. And I've got here one of my very good friends. I have sort of tried to do this podcast in some form of order in my own very chaotic head. So the fact that she's coming on third means something, at least to me. Um, Welcome, Dr. Patient Ali. This is where we clap.
I already gave you a disclaimer. I laugh a lot. So, yeah, thank you very much for having me. And I am not just one of your friends, I'm your honorary best friend. So, yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
I think the first place to start would be I need to say for the first like two episodes that I did, I had to like chase my hands for like a month to actually come on before they eventually did. Yours was just like 2 weeks, and I think it sums up our kind of like friendship, which is man, we just get it done, like
Yeah,
irrespective. I
yeah,
think I think the last sort of discussion I had with well, one of the last discussions I had with you before we split towns, if we put it that way, was about like what is cringe. Like there isn't anything like cringy anymore. If you want to do something, just
yeah,
them do it, isn't it?
yeah,
Just them do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Okay, so welcome.
Thank you very much. I think maybe I should just put it out there. Like, when I saw you post this podcast, I was shocked in a pleasant way. Like, and in a way, it motivated me as well. Like, because knowing that you're someone that I'm not really an extrovert, but I'm not scared of putting myself out there. Like, I would say things that most people are afraid to say, but they are thinking of. But you are more of the, oh, you want to hide in the corner, you don't want anybody to know you type of person. And seeing you do this, like, I remember, I think I was in the middle of the night. I just shouted, like, I just had to send you a message straight away. Like, I was so proud of, like, you doing this. And yeah, and it inspired me in a good way. I've not been able to, not maybe not to do a podcast because I don't think I'm more of a I think I get my thoughts better with writing, not really with speaking because I'm a chatterbox. I can just be talking off tangent. But just to put myself out there might not be like in the creative space, just to like we discussed, just do those things that you feel like is might be cringe, but there are things that you want to do but might make other people feel like, oh, what are you doing? But at the end of the day, it's your life, and eventually you just have to take the driver's seat and live it the way you want to. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think I was either watching something or someone was saying something. I was listening to maybe a podcast, and it says that like comfort, like being comfortable in yourself, is just right at the other end of cringe. And
Mm.
that sort of spoke to me in a way, connected with me a bit deeply. Most people don't do things for, and I get it. There's a lot of like anxiety with this is a
Mm.
very 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 small part. People who listen to this podcast are probably like family back at home, but it's still something, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, but like the first one was very nerve wracking. The second one a bit more comfortable. This just feels like I've been doing it. I've been doing it 100 years. So comfort is
Yeah,
actually
because
at the other end of things because people like, yeah, what's the worst that could happen? Like my phone wasn't
yeah,
working today. I was like, yeah, we're still going to do it anyway.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'll probably add on to the fact that I'm a very, very interesting person and I'm easy to talk to. So it makes it easier for you. But anyway, that's just a joke. But it's not really a joke, it's true. But yeah, I guess it's comfort in a way it can be a trap. Like you feel, and most times I notice, sorry, I hope there's a way you can just edit the noise out. I feel like with comfort, it's something that we strive to, we want to feel a bit more comfortable. But in a way, I think that there's this saying that everything you dreamed of or everything you want is on the other side of fear, is on the other side of. And I've learned to lean into that discomfort, to lean into such that in a way now it feels, if I am uncomfortable about something, I feel like, yeah, this is exactly what I should be doing. Like I'm more like do it scared type of person now, because like I'm sure you know I struggle with anxiety a lot, but it's I've learned to just like ride the wave. If I'm going to get a tattoo, it's one of the things that I'm going to get. Like just ride the wave, because if I wait until I no longer feel anxious about it, I'm never going to do it. I'm never going to do. If I wait until I'm comfortable, comfort sometimes is like hiding.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
synonymous with you hiding,
Mm.
and there are few people, few things that you can hide. Like you can't hide everything. There are some people that cannot be eating. There are some things that cannot be eating. You just have to do it. Like what's the worst that would happen? Like people will
Yeah,
laugh. You'll probably laugh, but then you get it done and you learn that way, and you just like ride the wave, and before you know it, you be a master of the storm or whatever.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think that concept typifies our friendship. We've been friends for at least 2 3 years now, and
mm-hmm,
on the surface, I think it's an unlikely friendship on the surface,
mm,
basically. Um, um, and for me, I don't know how it is for you. For me, there is that sort of like tension whereby I personally feel that you are not as secular as you project. I've definitely seen you be very religious, and then I think on the other side as well, I don't think you believe I'm as religious as I come across. Is that correct?
well, it's interesting, like this question, and it's something that I try to like ask myself as well. And the truth is, I always say it, that I am not a religious person. Like I feel so passionate about this because when I'm around, maybe I don't know, maybe I'll talk to my therapist about it, but it just, there's this way, like my skin crawls. I have this strong aversion to people who are, when I say religion, I mean people who try to like box God and say, oh, this is how, because you follow God, this is how it has to be, this is how it must project, this is how it just creates this strong response within me. And I'm just not that kind of person. But on the other hand, I am someone who is deeply spiritual in my relationship with God. Like it's entirely, I think I was having this conversation with you about someone who I was like, one of the reasons why I can't be with this person is because of like that relationship with God. Because if it's just a fling, then yeah, I don't mind. Well, I do mind, but maybe anyway. But if it's something that like a partner, you have to just have that relationship with God, and that's outside of religion, outside of like just because that's not how I know God to be. That's not, I feel like my relationship with God deepened when I was in my lowest, darkest phase. And even now, in moments where I feel like, oh, God must be mad at me, those are moments I feel God to be the closest to me. So that's why I can't really relate or understand when people say things like, oh, because you call yourself a Christian, you call yourself this, and you are doing this. And I'm like, the God you tell me you are representing tells me he loves me. And I feel like the way I transform easily, I transform better when I'm not guilted into some, when it's not from a place of guilt. The
Mhm.
transformation is more, it feels truer, it feels more like a real transformation. Because if it's born from a place of guilt, and having been someone who has performed most of my life, I know what it means or what it feels like to have this performance based life where you just want to like do something to please someone or to just please a certain set of like people. Or but when when the relationship I have with God is a type that the more I experience God's love, the more I learn to love myself. And the more I feel like those things that you're telling me not to do, I don't do them now, not because I feel guilted, not from a place of guilt, but because I'm just with him and he's loving me. And I just find that it's easier for me to let go of those things. Right. And I feel like the change is more real that way. And on the
Yeah.
flip side, I am still like, I like I will say, some people have it like the gate of heaven is open for them. Like they have special like seats, but some of us I'm a genuine lady. I don't know how you translate that.
Yeah.
But like I'm a work in progress, but I am there's a crazy part of me like that I've learned to accept like I don't fit into any box. I
Yeah. I
don't
think
fit into any box. I feel like, am I talking too much? Am
absolutely
I maybe
not.
not?
We are. This is all. It's a
Look,
podcast.
I just wanted to because your face like because I know I can go on and on. So like it's just yeah, there's a crazy part of me who is spontaneous, who yeah, do crazy shit, like talk crazy shit, but it's still like I'm especially this year, I'm just learning to accept all of me, to love all of me. But at the core of it is this girl who deeply loves God and does not joke with that aspect of. And even if I stray, like there's always that pull and that's God's love. And yeah, it will always find me. So yeah, so I'm a bit crazy, but yeah, I'm God's crazy kid. In short,
Yeah. Yeah. The reason for that is I was just like I sat like before this and I was thinking about like how our friendship came to be. And it is for me, I think it's grounded in like conversations we've had over the years. And
mhm,
like we've discussed a whole range of issues. We have
mhm,
really, really, really shallow conversations sometimes about like very mundane things about like maybe like going to like a Beyonce concert or something like that. And on the flip side of that, we've had like deep discussions about about like future. We had like a 30 minutes conversation about the stock market at some point.
mhm,
So I think that for me was just what typified our friendship, which is we have the range.
mhm.
If we're going to say it
Yeah,
that way, and
yeah.
I think it's something that I have always appreciated about our friendship. Always appreciated about you. I don't think you are caught lacking in any. Of course, there are sometimes that you say certain things or you do certain things, and I put my hand on top of my head. I'll be like, God.
Like what?
But of
Like
course,
what? What? No, stay there. Say that. Like what?
like exactly what we started talking about before we started recording this.
Oh yeah, that's the crazy part of it. See, I can't. I'm just trying to. Maybe because I just enjoy you. I just enjoy those reactions.
Yeah,
I just enjoy
yeah,
getting those reactions from you, boy.
yeah, yeah. So it's been of course beautiful. I personally think my own life is enriched because of you being in there. I think it is. Going back to exactly when we met at
Mario.
a GP, so at a GP surgery. We're both like resuming our rotations there. And my first impression was, um, who's this person? That's my first impression. I was like, okay, I don't think we're going to get along here. And it was the direct opposite of that happened because, just like you said, you're very easy to talk to. Um, um, you're very friendly. For someone who presents as something else, you are basically just a big fluffy baby. With
Yeah.
with 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 lots of things you wanted to discuss. And I'm not sure if, of course, we're great friends now. I'm not sure if you coming direct. Well, you didn't come directly to start GP. GP. I think you were in the country for 1 year, but you were coming into the NHS for the first time. To and then that was your first rotation. Am I correct?
Mhm.
In GP, and of course that would be very that would drive a lot of anxiety for everyone. So maybe do you think that sort of like contributed to why we got along so quickly and so fast?
Before I answer that, let me ask you. I know you had one asking the question, but let me just repeat and ask you. Why did you think we're not going to get along?
You just it's don't you just deal with vibes sometimes. Like I hadn't talked to you. You were no. The thing is this. That day. I don't know if you remember. I came in late. You were sat with a couple of other people. Most of the faces I did not know, but I had an idea. I think one person was in ST3. I think Jennifer. Am I correct? Yeah.
Mm.
So I had seen the face. I had seen the faces around, but of course yours was a very like strange face I had never seen before.
Okay. Go on.
Yeah. Oh, did you meet before that?
No, like I just added that adjective. You said your mine was a strange face, and I said like I'm fine face. So go on. Go on. It's one
Yeah.
of those things. So yeah.
So that in itself felt, I am just like, a very anxious person, and anxiety can present as, as just like trying to shut everyone off, like going to the
Mm.
places that you are familiar with, not that you're not familiar with. So that to me, I think was the main driving thing. Like, okay, there are a couple of faces I know here. We're not particularly friendly, but I'm very sure we'll get along. There's this person I've actually never met, no, never spoken to. I don't think we'd get along. So I think it was that simple. It was really shallow, but simple.
I feel for me, I wasn't. Let me see. I thought I think for me it was the opposite. Really, I don't. I got along with you and Jennifer, and for me, I felt like it was if I'm going to get along with someone, it doesn't take me up to 5 minutes. Like I would just know that. Okay, I think, and most times when I really want to know someone, if I'm like intrigued by someone, I don't care if the person say go away. I'm not going to leave. Like it's going to be, and the opposite is also true. If I'm not interested in knowing someone, even if you put yourself in my. I'm like, guy, nah. Like it just, and it's not necessarily what the person does. Like maybe it's just the Anjono that just come and whisper. I don't know. Is Anjono a bad thing? I don't like. It's just Yoruba. Sorry, but anyway, I think for us, I didn't have any. I thought you were cool. Or maybe I didn't really think about it that far. Like I think you were the one who came to talk to me, or was I the one who, but you were friendly. When I remember, like you were not, maybe I just really didn't care. I just wanted help. Like, and if it felt like you and Jennifer, you were really open to helping. And I know I had like a million and one questions, and you were both of you were like always open to answering my questions and not making me feel silly. I remember, was it you or Jennifer that I called one time that was crying over the phone? Maybe about something or something someone said or something. Like, but I just always felt at that point, and you and Jennifer would always be like the reference point when I'm talking to like maybe trainees just coming in and telling them about my experience, like because I was really really nervous. And going from there, I felt like you maybe I was just intrigued by this guy who was shy about everything, but it was quite intelligent, and I felt like, oh, I could have a conversation with him. And yeah, I was just intrigued, and I felt like our conversations were, it always flows, and we had things to talk about. And I just felt like, yeah, why not? And yeah, I felt like for me, maybe I didn't really think about it that much. And there were other people there, I think in that same surgery that maybe I wasn't really interested, or I don't know. But I think for us, and I feel like I am in a way also very intentional about my friends, like especially with people that I choose to remain friends with, because I can be friends with you, but once you leave, most times I'm not really good at chasing people. But when I found that people are like assets, and there are people that I try to just step out of my comfort zone to just say hey, hello, like just to keep them close, because
Mm.
I know that they are people that I don't want to lose, right? Because yeah, we might not get along on every issue or everything, but I feel like they are I recognize the value that certain people have, and I try to keep them close even if they are miles away. So
That's
yeah.
beautiful. That's beautiful. So staying in like GP land, how one, I think that is a two-part question. How did you cope with that transition? Like just generally on a human level. How did you find it initially? And then how is it now to you? And if you were doing this again, do you think there's anything that you do differently?
Is it transition from NES to GP, or from Nigeria to?
I think we can answer it in both ways. Yes, I'm very interested in how like transitioning from Nigeria here, how you coped with it. But I'm also, and I was going to go there, but I'm also interested in like how that because that time I knew it was like a really
Mm-hmm.
anxiety was really anxious. You're really anxious about that transition.
Mm-hmm.
How did you cope with that, and how has it come since? And then we can fall back on the Nigeria question.
I think, wow, it's a multi-layered question. Okay, so when I first got here, like you knew, like had a first-hand experience, how I it was nerve-wracking for me. Like having to see patients, and what I struggled with was not really the medical part. It was mostly, how do they do things here? You get like because it's different. And more so in GP land, like most of the things, like it's not just how do they do things here as per NHS, but how do they do things in NHS, but more specifically in
in
this
GP.
surgery. You
It's
get
it's it's like it's not like anything you've ever experienced ever.
ever, ever. And that, I think I was the only ST1 at that point. I remember when we're having the induction, it was one of the feedback I gave to my CS in ST1. They were using all this, oh, you do your ESR, your CS, your all this what? And I was like, what the fuck are these people doing? Like, I didn't
It's
know
it's
what they were
it's
saying.
it's so much language that you have to learn. You have to
Mm-hmm,
learn audits
mm-hmm,
and QIP
like,
and the
what are
limit
they
of your
talking about?
investigating power and
Mm-hmm,
intuition. Intuition.
mm-hmm.
My
And
God.
it felt as though it like people expected me to know, and me not knowing made me feel like I had failed in some way, right? Because it felt like, oh, maybe I was supposed to have known this, but I don't know. And that's why I am so grateful for you and Jennifer, because those questions I felt too stupid to ask others, I was able to ask you guys, right? And because there are times that people tell you, oh, if you have questions, come and ask, but they don't mean like literally every time. But there are times that you have questions literally every time, especially when you're just coming in, and having that safe space, like that place where you can go to ask those questions is really important. And that's why this body mentorship thing, I feel like it's a really good idea, because I felt even though it wasn't called body mentorship then, you guys were my buddies, were my mentors at the time. You were the people that I could talk to, because a lot of times I wasn't sure, like even in my personal life, it felt like, and coming from someone who, like you, I mentioned earlier, like being a performance based person, like if I always give myself a knock on the head, you know me, I'll always use either movie or book to buttress my point. You've watched Harry Potter here? No. You know Dobby.
Partly,
You know Dobby, the house elf.
no.
Like when he does something, when he feels he has done something bad, he hits his head on whatever thing, maybe the wall, or just to like punish himself, like, oh, bad Dobby, bad Dobby. It felt that way. I was mentally doing that to myself, like, oh, bad part, you should have known this, you should have, how could you have forgotten about, and I was really unkind to myself, and I didn't show myself grace. And it took you guys, it took friends. I think there was a time I wrote an article about it. How, like, just showing yourself grace and just reminding yourself that you're learning this for the first time. And yeah, just having that safe outlet to just let it out, I think was one of the things that really helped. And I think there was a point that you actually you encouraged me to take a sick day off, if you remember. Like even on that day, I was so anxious, like I should be at work. But I was my anxiety became like it felt crippling at that point. Because I was sure, should I be feeling this way? And then I had F2s who it felt like they knew what they were doing. And I was an ST trainee, and I didn't know, I think it didn't feel like I knew what I was doing. And all of that coupled with being the performance based person, like, oh, you don't know this, you should have known that. And you trying to like explain that to a patient, the patient sees the lack of confidence in you or the self-doubt in you, and it just feels a little too much. But having you guys helped me. And then I think going forward, I think also, if you remember when I was in psychiatry, there was this issue that I had with my CS, and you were like she tried to like use work based this therapy thing, mental health thing, which I engaged in. That I got in contact with I think I told you about it. A therapist there was once a
Yeah.
month thing.
Yeah.
It turned out to be a life changing event for me. Like
Mm.
I can go on and like I was
I
with
was
her for I think a year.
Yeah, I was going to actually come to that later. I think
Mm-hmm.
the impact of like therapy and like discussing around therapy for you, because of
Mm-hmm.
course the feedback from you about therapy has been like great.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's something we can touch on later.
Okay. Yeah, so I feel like so having that as well and the journey from that, it really helped such that now, even when I was in ED, there's that. I think I even still talk to you about how I was feeling, and you were telling me, oh, there's always going to be that transition, that phase where you have to, and even when you think that you've gotten a hang of it, this the old self still comes back, the anxiety still comes back when you're faced with new things, and it's still the same tool, the same, just grounding yourself, reminding yourself to show yourself grace, and having the the privilege of having like people to talk to sometimes, because sometimes hearing people reminding you of what you already know, it helps. And yeah, so I feel like now I am more of, I don't want to say I'm more of, I'm less anxious. I am, I give myself more grace. I am more kind to myself. And I just, when I'm faced with things, I try to ask myself, what are the things I can control and what are the things that I cannot control? If there are things that I cannot control, I just let go of it. I guess it has a bit to do with therapy and all of that, giving me the tools to, but I don't feel as anxious as I used to feel. Like, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing that sort of like buttressed that dynamic when you at the surgery we were working in then was there was one person who you had seen, and the person was suicidal. And I don't know if you remember this case. And you had come to like you spoke to me about the case. I think you spoke to the CS as well, and you ended up I think calling the person's relatives
Oh,
to
yeah, 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 yeah,
ensure that
yeah.
they were safe. You ended up
Mm-hmm.
calling crisis team.
Mm-hmm.
You stayed late then because of course the crisis team is in
Mm-hmm.
shambles. They would never pick up the call.
Mm-hmm.
And you did all that, and you were still a bit worried about what the result is. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't, I think I was telling you, or I was thinking in my head, but not telling you, is one, that was fantastic. You are and I think I wrote this in your feedback as well, that you're a genuinely caring doctor. And I don't think I don't think it's something that I will go that far for I'll just be honest. I'll just be honest. And for you to still like be worried about like going that length that I honestly wouldn't have gone, and still be worried about it was just something I found fascinating. I felt okay. Now I think at that point it was just a bit of reassurance that you needed. You were clearly a very and GP is not like people would say GP is not highfalutin medicine. It is hello hi hi there, you'll be all right. It's mostly about showing care. It's not about moving stuff. And you were doing that like you're going above and beyond in my own opinion. And you were still, you know, you could still see that worry. there. And I think going from there to now, where you're like the big boss now, I think it's some growth. I'm quite happy to have experienced that particular case. I'm not sure if I forget that case. So I was like, okay, I am either a bad person, because I will not do this what you're doing, or
I feel like
I am just so good at this. I'm just like, okay, maybe this is all necessary. This is all unnecessary.
I feel like as a GP, I've learned that, or even as a doctor, especially as a GP, you have to learn to be okay with uncertainty, right? Even in life in general. And I feel like my anxiety always draws strength from uncertainty. So the more uncertain I am about an outcome, the more anxious I become, right? And but I've learned to like turn it around, just make it one of my powers. If I'm uncertain about something, it's either okay, so Pat, what are you going to do about it? What can you do about it? What don't I have control over? And then just decide and just go from there. And
So, as I was saying, um, what would you say about like the impact of changing countries? Moving from Nigeria here, how did you find it? I'll preface this by saying I speak to people about this a lot, and it
hmm,
is that question comes from my own tension about you know leaving Nigeria or not leaving Nigeria, that kind of question. And I've usually the answers I get are in two boxes. The first box is then yeah, absolutely. Everyone should leave. And the second one was like, yeah, maybe leave for a while, and then absolutely go back. And try not to let the system, quote unquote, here take away your youth and everything you have to offer before you go back. So that's where my my question usually comes from. How did you find the transition, and how are you thinking about it now? How did you find the transition then, and how are you thinking about it now?
okay, so maybe I'll just to give a bit of context to my answer, right? I would say this. When I was in Nigeria, I think I've probably mentioned this to you. When I was in Nigeria, I never really felt, or maybe I would say, I've always felt that this place is not where I want to be. In terms of the things that felt comfortable for people in Nigeria, the things that were like the norm for people in Nigeria, there were things that were deeply uncomfortable for me, and I could not really explain it, right? So I worked in Ogun State for a while. I hardly went out because the roads were insane, right? There are certain behaviors, Nigerian behaviors that I didn't understand. Like I just could not. I get why people like it's part of the culture, but it wasn't. I always felt like this. It didn't feel like home to me. There were things that I wanted to be able to do. Things like I want to be able to take a walk, something as simple as that. I wanted to be able to like just experience people. Like I wanted to live in a society where I can trust their honesty. Like you can work for me as an artisan and I could say, okay, your work is good, right? Little things like that. And I think about raising kids, right? the culture. Nigeria, there was a book that I was reading, Chimamanda's Americana. There was one thing she said, I outlined it. She said Nigerians are confident but with no dignity. Like they're loud, but they don't have that dignity where you can take their words to the bank. You get what I mean? And in a way, it was I like to think of myself as someone who is really honest. That's why I rather not talk because I would say what I think. I'll say what I will say it. If you don't want to hear it, don't ask me because I won't lie. And for me, it just felt like, and there was a flow that I wanted my life to go. Like there was an ease that I was looking for. It was just too chaotic for me back in Nigeria, and I would say probably that was good old days because back in Nigeria, I was still able to afford certain things like that. I would say maybe they are a bit of luxury then, right? But that doesn't mean that being here has been a bed of roses. What I have learned is that every society, every country has its own problems. Like there is no paradise,
Mm,
right? And somehow you just have to decide which one, like what you are willing to give up. Coming here for me was there were there were too many challenges, but I knew that this was where I was supposed to be. Like this is where I'm supposed to be. I tell myself, like I have friends who say, oh, they'll probably go back to Nigeria, like because they don't want to end up in a care home. And I get that. It is all valid, honestly. But I don't think, as of now, I don't think I see myself going back home. Like,
mm,
I don't see myself relocating and saying Nigeria is my home. Because at least of the Nigeria of these days, of nowadays, I be well keep well how do I put the English? But anyway, you get what I mean. Like maybe it's just the simple thing for me, the simple things. Being able to take a walk, being able to take my niece to the park there. Like there was that park in the city center where
yeah.
like the water, the
The
fountain
water,
water,
yeah, the fountain, yeah, yeah, yeah. No.
and seeing her just run around, play with other kids, and we're just there laughing. Little things like that. Nigeria, you can't even find kids playing in the sand anymore because everybody you see, they are kids are now forced to become adults in
Mm,
Nigeria. Like you're trying to, they're now maybe we had it good. We had it good growing up. Like we still had, at least for me, I have memories of my parents. Like if there's no light, we all of us go outside uh just around the corridor or the front yard. We'll put a mat outside. My dad, my mom, they'll tell us stories and things like that. You play, you have friends that you go out like, but now the hardship is palpable. And my heart, I'm the kind of person that I, like you said, I genuinely care. And my caring is one that it becomes a burden because when I see a lot and I can't do anything about it, or I can't, it breaks me, to break me because I'll just keep complaining. I'll just like, why are these people? And it will just honestly. And apart from that, it's like the culture that we have as Nigerians. Yeah, we are confident, we are hardworking, we stand out, but the money worship, God,
Mm, mm,
it
mm,
is insane from top to bottom. I don't know where in Nigeria is immune from that. Like from the churches to the mosque, everyone worships money.
mm,
And I don't, for someone like me, I don't understand it. I can't understand it. And I don't want to have kids with that kind of mindset. I'm the kind of person that I want my kids to go home. I want them to go to Nigeria. I want them to experience Nigeria. I want them to experience the food. I want them to have like a mix of both. Like I don't want them to, wouldn't say be lost, but I want them to experience what I experienced, like the Nigeria as it is, right? But at the same time, I want them to maybe just have a taste of both worlds, right? And honestly, I still think that I'm still in search of home, right?
mm,
Because I don't see myself living in UK for long, but I feel like I'm still in search of home, right? I'm trying to enjoy where I am, to be grateful for where I am, to be present, right, where I am. I know that the quality of my life has like improved 1000% from what it was, and not just money wise, in terms of the things I think that are possible for me,
mm, mm.
right? Because that's what traveling does. It opens your mind, right? And but also it just, yeah, you're open to having, you meet different people, you have conversations, you see the world through a different lens. And I want my kids to experience that as well, right? And I want them to also know that their root is Nigeria, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So it's always, you know, I think a lot of people think about that very differently. So for some people, it's an easy transition. For some others, it's a more difficult transition. I want to go back
mhm,
to the point that you sort of like hinted at earlier, and it's what I know. You do have an I think you had a really nice childhood. You have this incredible closeness to your parents that I know. And sometimes, to be honest with you, it feels like you transfer some of your anxiety to your parents, or
or they transfer their anxiety to me.
or the other way, or the other way, or the other way around. Because as far as I'm concerned, I think as far as I'm aware, it seems like you speak to them every night, and then they call you,
Mhm.
and then they pray for you. And sometimes I feel like, that's too much. That's too much. Okay, it's enough now. There was one time like that. We were discussing about a particular erroneous like test result.
Mhm.
Concerning it, I was like, please don't tell your parents about this, please. I beg
And
you.
I told you I
And
already
you,
did.
and you already did.
I told you I already did.
And I, the poor people were already like worrying over things
Mm.
that eventually turned out to be like a nothing burger. I wanted to like ask where that came from, that incredible closeness. Of course, I say that in jest, because of course everyone needs to be close, to be close with their parents. But I think it's a lot for you. Where that sort of like came from, and what your childhood was like, how you remember it now, looking at it through like an adult lens.
I feel like I've always, so my parents were not, they are not perfect, right? There are things that, yeah, we still have to walk through, like childhood trauma and things like that. But in a way, so my childhood was like this. Like I mentioned hinted earlier, we get story times. When my friends say when they hear their dad on, they always run. Mine is the opposite. Like we are always happy, like looking
That
forward to
is the
hearing
natural
their
reaction. When you hear your
dad.
dad's song,
So
you go and open the gate,
no, no,
and
I
then you
think when
enter
I
the
was growing
house,
up,
and
I
you're
was
never to be
probably
spoken to.
I
That's
was more
natural
scared
reaction.
of my mom. I think I was more scared of my mom than my dad while growing up.
Mm,
So we are three girls and a boy. When we started our period, each of us, my dad bought us something, right? So it was like a tradition. When you start your period, you get a
okay.
gift from my dad. So either he gives you cash or he kills
Okay.
chicken for you.
Hold on. Sorry.
Okay.
That is an interesting thing. I just did not want
Yeah.
that to pass. Why?
I'm the last one. I don't know. It's just something that he does. Like it's just something, and it was something that I remember like growing up when my I think my elder sister, when she got a gift, I knew that, oh, you've gotten your period. So I was not looking forward to it. It was like one of those things. And another thing that especially with my dad is he he started giving us pocket money at a very, very young age. Maybe when I was in primary school, like it would every month. So he will call each of us in, take your money. Like so in a way, maybe that is why my relationship with money is a bit different from a lot of people because I didn't really see it as a big deal. Not that we had a lot, but we were trusted with money, right?
Mm,
My elder sister, even my dad would keep money with her, like would
mm,
save money with her. Like she even had a she for her now she's the financial guru more
mm.
than I am because of that. And we're really young. I'm talking primary school, maybe even nursery school. It started as small as 100 naira, 50 naira that my dad would give. So I think that for me, and but then my relationship with my dad in particular, right? I am
Mm,
closest. I think that for me, I'm closest to my dad, right?
mm,
I don't know why. Honestly, as a child, I've always, because my dad is really intelligent, right? He's somebody that people would go to ask like when they have issues. Or so I've always more like idolized them as a kid. Like I saved it on I saved him on my phone as my hero because it was literally that. Like
mm.
growing up, that a bit changed over the years, but the fact that I don't know, maybe it's just this girl dad thing. Like, but he has two other daughters. For me, it was more like a friend, right? And since I left school, I left home for uni. I would till now, I would say my dad calls me almost every day, and my mom almost every day as well, right? I think the reason why, especially for when I got before I left Nigeria, right? Because I don't really have much friends, and in a way, my parents are like my friend. I was struggling when I moved down here. I was having like really horrible dreams, and I was struggling, and because I knew that they were, I've always my dad is not the most religious person, but he taught us to pray. He taught us to have a relationship with God. And when I was struggling, it was just easy for me to tell them that my mom is the warrior, right? If I have an issue that I need, I don't want someone to worry about, but I want to talk to someone about it, I'll speak to my dad. So when that blood results thing happened, I didn't tell my mom. I told my dad because I don't even know what I wanted him to do. Honestly, I'm not sure what I wanted him to do. So in a way, I feel like I'm grateful for it because especially with my relationship with my dad, it's not just my dad, is my friend, right? And my parents are like my covering, like they are like priests to me. Where I don't believe in going to pastors to pray for me. I just don't believe in that. But they are the people that if I feel like, oh, I have a need, I call them to pray for me. And there was a time I gave them my tithes because I felt like why not? It made sense. And
Okay, hold on. You give them the tithes. That is like the 10% that goes to the church,
10%,
isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
So you didn't give it to your church. You gave it to them.
I didn't give it, at
So
that point, I didn't give it to my church.
so were
Yeah,
they
I
supposed to
didn't.
hand it over to their own church? Were they
No,
supposed to
they're
spend it?
supposed to. No, they're supposed to spend it. My dad, that my dad that loves money. Which church? So me, I'm not the kind of person that there are things that my tithe, I don't give it to the church. I could give it to maybe somebody that has needs or something. I just give it to the person. So it doesn't have that's for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's how the relationship has been. I'm just used to it. Like especially my dad and I, we fight sometimes. And when we do, the last time we had a fight, after we got back, we reconciled. My dad was like, don't let us be fighting again.
Like
It's like,
literally
don't
what
let us.
you'd say to your friend or your brother or your sister. That's exactly that.
Yeah, that was what he said. Like, don't let us be fighting again. Like that, it was not well when we were fighting. I was like, oh, me too. I was not feeling fine when we were fighting. So it's like having that, and I know that it doesn't have that with other children. So it's just, I guess it's just like that. I've always adored him. I don't have a reason for it, but I've always adored him, like idolized him, put him there, right? And even when he fell short of that standard that I put him, it was still someone that, yeah, you don't. There's no why really to why you love someone, or but he's always just like my friend beyond being my dad. And my mom has always been, that soft touch. Whatever kindness that you think I have, whatever care that you think I have, I got it from my mom. And yeah, she's the kind of person that if she likes you, she can she can remove her eyes for you. And if she doesn't like you,
You will know.
you will know. But it doesn't happen often. But yeah, so the two of them, I'm just lucky to have them. So,
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Sort of like adjacent or related to that is I think one of the things I found at least intriguing with you was that you are an Ibadan person with or in a Delta person's body.
mhm,
If there's anything like that, what's your sense of self? How do you definitely someone sees your name, sees your name, and you know that okay,
mhm,
this person is clearly not Yoruba. Not only are you the sense I get is not only do you think you are Yoruba, you think you are from actually from Ibadan yourself. What's your sense
mhm.
of, and is there any conflict there for you?
I think for me, I'll always say that Ibadan is always home. Like, it's always going to be home. I don't care whatever these our local people they're saying, all right? Because that's that's where if I ever think about like going back to Nigeria or setting up something, Ibadan is more home to me than Delta State, right? I am from Delta State. I speak Isoko. I speak the language, but I think I'm more comfortable because that's all I've known, right? But in a way, it's funny because I think we had a conversation about this when I said somebody who has lived all their life, say in the US, right, who is from Ibadan, is more likely to win a local government chairman election in Ibadan
Yeah.
than me that spent like almost 30 years in Ibadan, right? And that's the downside of the society. But I guess it's just I try to I don't limit myself in the sense that I don't try to let what others say or what others think that their opinion of where I should align myself with affects me. Like Ibadan is home, period. Like it's just where it is. I'm from Delta State, period. That's what it is. I am still in search of a home. Like now, UK is, I feel it's just a phase, right? I don't see myself living here for 25, 50 years. I don't see myself doing that. But I don't know what home is. So multiple truths can coexist, and understanding that human the human nature, the human experience is not black and white. There's so many things in between. There's so many shades. And you being able to accept that and just embrace that is what makes you unique. You don't have to put yourself in a box. You have to be in Ibadan. You have to be nah. This is my reality. Like
Yeah.
I don't even need you to validate that. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So like akin to that, you went to secondary school in Ibadan. I think you went to St.
Mhm.
Anne's, if I remember
No,
correctly.
my sister went to St. Anne's. I went to Queen School Ibadan.
You went to Queen's School. Okay.
Mm.
How was that experience for
Trauma. It was one of the things that I unpacked with my therapist. Well, the experience was, I felt it was one place where I felt I started to see myself as not being good enough,
you?
not in terms of looks, like not beautiful enough. It's weird to think now, looking back now, but the only thing that I felt I had going for me was my brain, right? I was the one who read for everybody else to copy because that was my ticket to staying in the group, right? Because every other person had beauty, I had the brain. So why not just use it? If not, they are going to kick me out of the group. So I felt inadequate a lot. I felt not good enough. And it was a place where I felt like, yeah, I think it was one of the places where that performance based life where it's like took like had a strong hold on me, right? Remember when I had this neurodivergent neuro whatever
Yeah.
diagnosis thing? I
Mm,
had to unpack it with it was when I was having that once a month therapy. And
mm.
you know, what she does is she just said, "Oh, how has the past few weeks been?" And I just was rattling, the way I chat away. Oh, and I had this and then I just moved on from it. And she brought me back, and we started unpacking it. And if I tell you, I cried like a baby because that was the first time in my life that somebody held a mirror to my face and I
Mm.
really saw how that performance based thing, that was the first time someone had ever said that to me. Because I found it so hard to accept that my because that's like the only thing that I had going for me, my brain. And now you're telling me that my brain is different from other
Everyone's.
people. Like, what do you mean? So yeah, secondary school wasn't, it wasn't for me personally, it wasn't like the best of experience. But yeah, I got to QSI. Then QSI, you had to be beautiful because they were, when school closed, we had men lining up, like guys from GCI, from different schools lining up, like looking at, and me, I was just with my bald head. Like, I was young then, but it mattered because most of my friends, they had boyfriends, and me, I had no one, right? And I had friends who would laugh at the way I walked, that I had bow legs and all of that, saying, "Oh, I was
I'm sorry. All
ugly."
this
And
was what class? What class are we talking about?
guy, maybe from GSS to GSS 3, it was insane, right? It was till I finished, right? Especially people who were in the hostel. Oh my god, it was, I could not even measure up. And honestly, looking back now, I see those people. Sometimes when I go on Facebook, I see those people, I'll be like, God, look at my life. Even back then, I look at my pictures and I was like, nah, I don't know. It's just, I guess it's just that self-image thing, like knowing from a young age. And that's why I'm always passionate, especially about the girl child, or anyone really, not necessarily like a girl child, just being okay with you, like, and loving it, like loving every inch of you, even if you have K leg, or you have, because allowing, giving people the power to define you, giving, relinquishing that power over to others, it can literally ruin you, right? It can, because it will ruin how you see yourself, and the world will not, the world don't see you as you are, they see you as you see yourself. I don't know if that makes any sense, right?
That makes absolutely loads of
Yeah.
sense.
So it's always, there's this passage of the scripture that says this, the kingdom is within. It is always within. It starts from within. And when someone walks into a room, right, and they are settled here, who they know who they are, it always radiates. Like, you know that this person, no, like, you just know that aura, and it holds so much power, like so much, where they don't care whether they are the loudest in the room, they don't care whether they are the goofiest in the room, they don't care whether they are making any sense. They just they've learned to enjoy their being, to just celebrate it. And yeah, it's one of the most powerful things that there is.
Um, yeah, I'm hearing about this for the first time.
Because
Even
they
though we've
never
been
asked
friends,
me.
even though we've been friends
He
for
never
a
asked.
while. And I think you're right. Secondary school in particular, because everything is relative in secondary school. Everything is
Mhm,
relative. You're comparing yourself to everyone. You're not so sure of who
mhm,
you are at that moment.
mhm,
So if you get people, or you get that sense that you're not good enough, and things of that nature, that's most likely going to
mhm,
affect everyone going forward, because of course
mhm.
it's still a formative brain. And it
Especially
takes.
when, sorry to cut you short,
Yeah,
especially when you get home, there is no reaffirming voice at home, right? So they tell you you're not good enough in school, and then you get home and you're still doubting yourself. There's no voice there to tell you that this is actually not true. You get, so
Yeah.
it makes things worse.
Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. Yeah. I'm remembering myself in school now, but we'll see. How was Ife for you? Of course, we sort of experienced
I
Ife
followed boys.
differently. we experienced, we experienced Ife differently. You
Hmm.
as a student, me as a resident. If you, I don't know, a couple of years apart. How
Hmm.
was Ife for you?
Well, I think if there was one thing that I wish I did, I wish I dated more. Like I wish I explored a bit more, right? But in a way, that that would have come only if I knew myself the way that I know now, and like being comfortable with in my being the way that I am now.
Can I
Back
ask?
then in
Oh,
uni,
1 minute. Sorry, let me interrupt for 1 minute. So, what you said was you wished you dated more. What was the impression of, like, what sense did you get that the impression of the class was about you? Like, what group were you? Were you like in the fun group? Would
I
if
was
it's the
in
if
the I followed, like I had a lot of male friends. Like I was
you
just
still have a lot of
the
male friends.
yeah, no, but let me give you the context. Okay, so I got into school, uni. I already had a boyfriend, right?
That was from Queens.
From from no, after I had finished school, right?
Yeah.
From Queen's School, right? That jam border period, I
Period.
had a boyfriend, right? That boyfriend, in fact, so the first jam I wrote, I got biology education.
In
Hold
Ife.
on. Yeah, in Ife. And my dad was like, if it were other children, he would have said, go carry on and do it. But for me, he said, no, that I know what you are capable of doing, that this is not for you. Sit for the exam again and you get it. This stupid boy told me, oh, you can come, you will cross from biology education to med. Like looking back, I'm like,
Was
what
it?
kind of
Was he in Ife then, or you were going to
yeah,
go
it
in at
was
the
in
same
Ife.
time?
It was in Ife. He was studying mechanical engineering,
Okay,
right?
so as at the time you were doing like the jam, did you go to like Ife for like pre-jam schooling and all
Oh
that?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Was
But
that
I
how you
knew
met?
him like no, no, no. It was like a neighborhood. Like it was. We went to the same church
Okay,
at that time. So I had the boyfriend when I was in uni. It was if I say possessive, obsessive. I can't even detail the abuse
oh God,
here because some of the things that I went through, even me, I look at like parts, kilo, like it got
seriously,
to a point. I'm telling you. Oh, I've never told you. Oh, I thought we had the conversation. Like he could not see me with male friends. It was a problem. When I finished classes, this guy would be waiting for me. So it was
was it not like
from
in uni
hostel.
if you finish classes from how?
If I finish classes, oh Matima, like it will be waiting outside the classroom. You know that period, there are different periods. So maybe he is free doing his own period and all of that. So he'll be
Okay,
waiting outside the class for me to
mm.
finish so that we can go back to the hostel together. So it was from hostel to class to hostel. Like it was monitoring my life. I could not. There was an incident. I had this friend who I think I met him during post. It was just a platonic friend, and I had not seen this guy in a while. And when I saw him, it was an evening hangout thing. If you know around that motion ground.
I
So
never
me
go.
and this my
I never actually went to like Ife. I just was
campus.
OUTHC most of the time. I
Uh,
never actually
so
went there.
there was this main place, like it's popular motion ground, where people just hang around. So I was with my boyfriend at the time. So this guy now walked past, and I was happy to see him. I was like, "Oh, hey, hi!" I sighed up dim, like I was happy and all of that. The guy went. This boyfriend was like, "That I should go and tell that guy that he, as the boyfriend, is not happy with the way I hug." So that's how insane and obsessive it was.
It's
This
so
way, I
funny.
stayed with this guy till I was in 200 level. And at 200 level, I had left hostel because that hostel life is not for me. So from 200 level, I started living off campus. And what broke the camel's back was, so at that point I was tired. I just wanted an out. Like, guy, just leave me alone. So there was another classmate of mine that I wanted to go to church with. Right? It was, if you know, GLT was popular in Ife then.
I think it was popular in Lautech, so I have an idea
Mhm.
about church.
Okay, so I was talking about like the straw that broke the camel's back. So at this point, I was already tired. Like I wanted an out. So, but it was somebody. When someone is obsessed, it doesn't matter. Like the person will not get the sign. So there was a classmate who had invited me to GLT, and I was like, okay, I was going to go. I'd already planned. And this guy was in my house on that Saturday. I had tried to get this guy to go back to campus and he refused. And at that point, I had a roommate. The roommate had also gone and followed our own boyfriend at the time. So she was not in, right? So I was stuck. He insisted I wanted to stay over. And I was like, oh God. Okay. So he decided I was going to stay. And I was like, okay, I was still going to go anyway. Somehow, the following morning, I think maybe he overheard my conversation on the phone with this classmate that, oh, I'm coming, I'm prepping. That was how it became like, he started beating me.
Wait,
Like,
what?
oh, I'm telling you that, oh, I want to. Oh, he started by seizing my phone, right? He seized my phone. I was like, you can't seize my phone. This phone, my parents call me every day. If nobody answers the call, they are going to get worried. And it was like, oh, you're not leaving, wanted to leave my phone. I was like, you can't leave, just give me my phone. It became an argument, and then his shirt tore. Oh my God. I just said slap, like started beating me in our small room and calling me all sort of names, that I'm a whore. That's why I want to go follow man to day. That's why I was trying to get him out of the house yesterday. Blah, 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 blah. Me that I have sharp mouth, I knew that if I talk, it was going to kill me. And my roommate was not in. I was just there. It was slapping me. I did not say anything because I knew that it was a man. It's going to overpower me. And it was a Sunday. So most people had gone. They were left or whatever. When my stupid roommate eventually came, that was when I now had voice that I am not doing again. Like, so it became, it brought people to beg me. I was like, no, I'm not interested anymore. His dad told me that, oh, it is somebody that you love, that you correct, that he was trying it because he loved you.
Did your dad know that he was beating you? That he beat you at least
He
that point?
knew. He knew. That was why I was saying that it's somebody that you love, that you correct. So that was how I left that relationship. And I think, in a way, after that, it was more of, I wish it was a lot of book, medical school. I had a lot of social activity, but even the social self, because I was broke. You need to pay for those trips, so I could not really afford. I could not really afford most of the social, but looking back, I wish that I don't really I don't really subscribe to regret a lot, but most times when I look back, I wish that I was this person back then. Like I was this self assured. I was this like confident. I was this person, right? Because there was no way this person would have been with that guy. I would have had a lot more fun. I would have had fun in the sense like I would have explored myself, like not really in a crazy way, but just trusted myself more to put myself out there. You get what I mean? And not just allow certain situations because some situations are like loopholes. You just keep going around, and you just waste time over stupid things and people that you feel like this person should not even we should person should not even have my number, right? Like you don't deserve to have my number. And then you find out that they are the kind of people that you were rolling with. But then again, uni gave me a lot of good friends, like a lot of a really great friend. And yeah, so people that I'm still really close to today, I think most of my friends are from uni. Most of them are from uni. So yeah, I met really good people there.
And that story, I cannot get, like, I cannot
Yeah.
get that story away
Yeah,
from my head. It is,
it was insane.
it is wild. It is wild.
Mm.
Um, did you ever like get in touch after that?
With the person,
Yeah.
but the person tried to get in touch with me, and being the kind of person that I am, I or being the kind of person that I was then, I yeah, I was not hostile towards him, but I was not definitely I knew I can't be friends with the person, right? He wanted he wanted some conversations, he wanted but I was over it. Like, guy, it's not going to ever happen. And there's this belief that Pat is proud, and I have this maybe I have this resting bitch face as well. Like when I'm not talking to someone, when I don't like you, I have this resting bitch face, and you think that oh she's proud, she must be. And I think the last conversation we had, he said something towards that me being proud, me being da da da, and I didn't care because I honestly, the way I care, the extent to which I care, I can be that opposite, like that extreme as well, not to care at all, like you don't even exist. And yeah, that was what the last conversation we had. I
I,
think
I, I
further.
I know I might be, and I will move off this a bit soon, because I know it can be a bit uncomfortable. And I know I might be applying like a lens of like this country and this particular time to what happened
Mm.
in that country a couple of years ago. Did you feel like you couldn't report this? Or what was the dynamic there? And also, when I said, "Did you have you been in contact with him?" My thought, or just my sort of instinct, is that maybe get in touch with the whoever the partner is and say, "Okay, this guy beats me," to to at least for one. So that's those are the two things that are going on in my mind, and I just wanted you to address that if you can.
Still, then I told the guy that I was going to go to church with because I didn't end up going. So I had to tell him that this was what happened. And I remember him feeling like, oh, you should report to the police and all of that. And I was like, no, I don't want, you know, the typical Nigerian. I don't want wala. I don't want.
Right.
But I remember that I knew if I told my dad. my dad would come down to school and is the proper Delta Isoko man. And if you know Isoko men, they always have a cutlass. And my dad is that crazy. Yeah, he is that crazy. And I don't think I've ever told him that even till today. Because he is that really passionate about his kids and his wife, right? So I felt like I knew I could not tell my dad because I didn't want the drama. But again, you know that the exposure is different from like now. If it
Yeah, that's
happens
right.
to
Yeah.
me now, right, I will be thinking of going straight to the police, right? Or reporting or just, but I was not really equipped with that at that point, like with that knowledge of what you could do. Here, there is the option of, even if you don't want to report to the police, there are things that like support groups and things that you could access that could help you, right? But we didn't necessarily have that at that point. And the question of maybe talking to the partner now, it never even crossed my mind. Like it
Yeah,
never.
yeah. That's that.
I don't want to. And it's not me. I don't know if it's me. I don't want to judge that like that comment, but yeah, it never really crossed my mind if, because again, I don't. I would not go in search of, because the person ceased to exist to me, and it's my hope that, because the truth is, people who abuse others, they don't start by just slapping you, right? There's always that hint of, when I started with him being overly possessive, me not being
Yeah,
able to have friends and things
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
So, and when people are in love, so to speak, you accept the kind of love that you think you deserve, right? And that, in a way, is also an extension of how you see yourself, right? So if you see yourself as, yeah, I'm not really all that, right? You feel like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I can manage this guy, okay? So if I go and tell the partner, this person does this, I don't know the kind of person. First of all, I won't really advise people in love because I don't know their dynamics. And this is Nigeria. It's like, oh, you want to scatter, blah, blah, blah. And for somebody who is that way, my hope is that he has changed. But if not, there will always be signs that the person he is currently with would have picked up,
yeah. Picked
right?
up.
The subtle aggressiveness, the obsession, the isolation from friends, and all of that. If she's the kind of person that picks up on things like that, you know that Nigerian women, we idolize marriage, like, because, oh, you have to get married, though, you have to have kids, so, and all of that. And you now go and say somebody slapped somebody. Be like, you want to tell me you that you're not married? I don't want somebody to come and tell me story of my life. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll move on. It was just my own sort of visceral reaction
Mhm.
um to that story, and for what it's worth, I'm sorry that happened to you. I am.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um, just a bit I just sense with that is about marriage. I wanted to touch on. I wanted to come at it from this angle. Um, I am aware at least of one person who is married, and we're in the same rotation at that point, who was married, but also technically was trying to get with you, take you to Leeds or Manchester or something like that, or something like that.
I hope nobody gets to watch it. Podcast. See
How
how
am I
you're
telling
opening my
names?
yash outside. That was supposed to be confidential for. That's like
I
a
have
friend's info. That's
I
like
ha-
a.
I haven't
Okay.
mentioned any. I haven't mentioned any names.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Yeah. Go on.
Now, I wonder if that kind of now that's one scenario I know. You understand?
Mm.
I know. I think you have hinted to me that the more than that. Um, uh,
Alákòóbádìẹ.
I wonder how
Oh
that affects your view of marriage. The reason is this.
God.
I think that kind of situation can either go in two ways. Okay.
Mm.
The first thing is self-aggrandizement. I am so beautiful. That's why these people are getting are trying to uh, get with me, whether it is married or unmarried. I'm just that person. Um, the second is that this is what married men do. Why am I wasting my time? You understand?
Mm.
If they are doing that to me, the potential person I'm going to be with, there's a possibility that he is also in another person's um
Panties.
DMs or things like
Mm.
or things like that. How have you interpreted that kind of attention, in particular, specifically
To married.
from married men or from married man? Let me just say man because that's the one I know. Although you did tell
Okay.
me, you understand. How have you in that specific scenario? Did you feel like okay, he is just shooting a shot like most men around me are, or did you feel like that guy is just like a crap person? I've lost all respect for him, knowing that he's married.
Honestly, I never really. So when men um shoot their shots, whether married or not, I'm not always surprised, right? And in a way, I intentionally, especially if I have like a female friend and I know the person is married, there have been a couple of friends like that I think I mentioned it to you that I intentionally just remove myself from the situation because yeah, I know that eventually somehow it could just, and I don't want to be in that situation. So I just avoid it by just distancing myself, right? Because I am always going to be myself. And your husband or your partner might come up to me in any way, and I don't want that awkwardness. So it's more like I don't really think too deep about it. It's like, oh yeah, another one. You get. So it's not something that I think I give a lot of thought to, right? Having the attention, the male attention is not always surprising. It's never really been surprising. And I don't think I've ever thought about like, oh, all married men. I get surprised these days. I'm like, oh yeah, like there are a lot of rubbish in this street. Like I get that because yeah, this year has been insane. I won't say what than that.
You
But
need to say
no, 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 I can't say it on the podcast. No, I
I
can't
haven't
say it on the
mentioned I haven't
podcast.
mentioned I haven't mentioned any name. Like the
No,
person
you don't have to make no, it's just regards to this year that what I said, like this year has been insane. It's just like there's that realization that oh yeah, men are crazy, right? But also when it comes to marriage, I feel like the only reason why I'm not married is because it's as simple as I've not found my person. It's just plain and simple as that. It's not I don't really think too much about
but you
oh,
don't you
is he
don't think
going to be
this quote unquote shenanigans has anything to like like anything to do or to influence how you see like marriage and like men?
No,
You
I
don't
don't.
think
I
so?
don't think. I don't think so. I don't think so because maybe because I'm not really. I want to get married, right? I really want to get married, but I'm more of I want to be with my person type of person, right? So whether or not and with my kind of person, yeah, it's just my kind of person. You get. And of course, we have conversations about infidelity, and that's another story for another day, whether it's a deal breaker, whether it's not a deal breaker, whatever. And the flip side is also true. It's not easy for me to just stick with one man. Come on. It's not the flip side. That's just the truth. Have you seen the men? See, I don't know. You're putting your hand on your head now. Like, I'm not. This is me. I'm making the conversation as podcast worthy as possible. This is me trying not to be the usual part. But it is true. Have you seen the men? Like, you see some men, I'm like, oh my God, this guy is. Yeah. And so what makes men think that they are the only ones that have this issue with like sticking to one woman. I don't know about other women, but I also have an issue with sticking with one man because there's a lot of fine men out there. So it's all a matter of like Bible says, forsaking all others. That's why for me it's important to really like the person that I'm with. Like for him to be my own person, right? Such that it doesn't it's not as if I will not look because yeah, fine men yapa. And not really just fine men. Like people who you can converse with, just interesting people. You find them and feelings are tricky, right? You think that you like this person. And there's this book by Chimamanda, the new one. Dream oh god. It just escaped my that's like the most recent book I'm reading about dreams. Dream counts, yeah. The dream counts. One of the characters, there was one scene there. She was with this guy. It was it was textbook perfect. Like it had everything. But there was one word she used. She was like, desire can lie side by side with love and not be love.
Mm,
I'm just paraphrasing it. But you can really like I think it was after they had sex and in the after the whole thing, in the silence of it all, at the back of her mind, she knew she had that desire and it was lying side by side with love, but it is not actually love,
mm,
right? So it is about like, and I feel like people who have found not just marriage, because you go online, you go on Twitter, you hear, you see people, and you see that they are married, but then you know that guy, waiting they do.
mm,
You get like you know that they are not with their person,
mm,
and you see people being fine with it. It's not to them. It's not a tragedy,
mm,
right? They are fine with it. They live their life
mm,
like that. To them, it is a win, right?
mm,
And you still find people. I don't think I've ever found someone when you see a couple that you know that these two is just it fits. They fit. That is a miracle,
mm,
right? That for me, I believe is one of God's blessings, something that only God can give, and that's what I'm praying for. It is insane because it is rare, it is hard to find.
mm,
And if I didn't know it exists, if I didn't have the dream, it would have been easy for me to settle. I would have had like one kid. But when you know that there's something,
mm,
hard for you to convince yourself that to settle for something less. I don't know if that makes sense, because deep in your heart, you carry this desire that only you understand. Like you see it in your mind's eye.
Mm.
You see that this is what I want. It's not just marriage, it's like my own person. You get married. There's this conversation online now where Maraji. You don't know
Right
her.
on.
Maraji. No, not
Okay,
Guru Maraji. Sule. Oh,
that's the
she's
gym
not
area.
good. She's not comedian. So she just gave birth, and I've not seen the video. I don't plan on seeing the video. So I think our husband came online to talk about how men are sometimes neglected, like following a child's birth, like not nobody asking how he is, right? And you hear people saying, "Oh, the women that are going through all the pain of pregnancy, all the pain of childbirth, and you are there, you want the attention." I was like, what are you people talking about? Does validating the man's emotion, does it in any way undermine the attention that you're giving to the woman? Like, so, and these are type of the people having thoughts like this, they are married. My y'all. The people having thoughts like this,
Okay.
the people having thoughts like this, they are married, they have boyfriends, they have partners, but they don't have the blessing that I want. It's just so yeah, that's it for me with regards to honestly, I don't know what sometimes I feel bad for my parents, right? Because they want it more, probably more than they don't want it more than I do, but it's also their dream. But what can I do? Like it's a dream that you've got, and you can't you can't deny that you have it. Like it's just
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
So
So rounding up this particular topic, what is the dating pool like now? What is it? How would you describe
it's
like
like
the people
it's
out there
it's
now? The people that
Iwa.
you're having discussions with now, how would you describe it now?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of
I think the
I'm
last time we
having a lot
discussed
of
this, you said it was like a jungle. I think that was last year though.
yeah, it was
And you
a
said
jungle.
I think you said you were close for the year. Yeah.
I had one more entry, but I've closed officially now. After we had that conversation, I had one more entry, but now I've closed for the
But now
year.
you're close for the
Like,
year.
cause I can't. I've closed for the year. Like, cause it's it's sewage. Like, it's just crazy. Honestly, you people that you are married, maybe una hold your partner as well, not in the outside. But also, I think that with the dating, it's just the exhaustion of having to like talk about yourself, and it's just mentally exhausting. Like, nigga, I don't have that time. And
Yeah.
that I have deleted all my dating apps now.
Now you have. Okay.
Yeah, now I have, because I feel like I just to myself, my husband or my partner is not on dating app. I'm
There.
more likely to meet him on maybe on Twitter than I am on to meet him on dating apps, because I want that organic, like I want to no I just I want to be able to like know how you think, right? And I feel like a lot of this dating thing, they are scripted. Oh, hey, hello, how are you? How was your day? Hey, guy, I don't. After coming back from work, I am tired. Like, I don't want to have this. There are few people that you have maybe you strike conversation with about things that I enjoy, maybe music, maybe books, and things like that. But and you get a lot of weirdos on dating apps as
On the
well. There
apps.
was one, like it was just I think guy I know they do like episode like you know they you don't know me like what is it? So it just, I feel for me, it was just like the exhaustion of going over and the lack of, I feel like it's not organic enough. It's not how I like to meet someone, right? I like to hear someone speak. I like to hear their thoughts or know their thoughts. That, in a way, is a better introduction of who this person is than a scripted, oh, what do you like? What are your hobbies? We can have conversations around it and it works for other people. I might end up picking up the dating app again, but nah. Well, for now, it's just, yeah, it's. I had a lot of fun this year, though.
You did?
I had a lot of, yeah, I did. Like, I had a lot of.
So,
I won't say more than that. But I
of
had a lot.
course.
I enjoyed like dating this year.
Yeah.
It was good. Like, and it's, as a woman, I feel like you should date just to experience people, not necessarily date with, oh, you want to get married. You miss out on a lot of like great people, have conversation, and just enjoy the process, enjoy the experience of meeting different people. And yeah, and be responsible, because don't, whatever happens, if you are not pregnant, you can just know that life is still good as long as you're not pregnant. Life is still good. But if you get pregnant, dear, bye. Your own has met you. So yeah, what? It is true. It is true.
It's okay. Anyway, I think we have just like 10 minutes, and I don't want to take any more of your time. So, a bit to more partly serious stuff is, do you have any ambitions or like big goals going forward that you'd like to see achieved in the next couple of years, 10 years down the line, 25 years down the line, that you want to share?
I think 10 years down the line, I hope that I am with my person and maybe with a kid or two. I hope that I am no longer in the UK. I would like to still be in clinical medicine, but do a bit more of women's health thing, like really do a bit of that. And yeah, maybe travel a lot more with my partner. Like travel a lot more. I have this big obsession with Lee Min Ho now.
With what?
He's a Korean actor. Wait, wait. Dude, like, travel, just travel the world. And I have this really huge dream about, like, maybe the word has been misused, but is it philanthropy?
Yeah,
Like just being in a place, being able to
give back.
give back to children, especially. So yeah, and yeah, just to be happier, really, to be happy, and yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Who are the three most important people that you think have impacted your journey up until now, just in life generally?
In life, I would say my dad. I would say my best friend, Oyeleke, and so two in one, right? I would say my therapist.
Hmm.
So there are two. So the first one and the second one, the most recent one, yeah, two of them. So that's like two
Yeah,
in one.
Your therapist, the one you got there, work or
The
like the one you got
work,
online.
yeah, that ended, and I'm with. I had like she linked me. She gave me like she said because we used to do once a month, so she advised that I should do it more frequently. So she like gave me the website to go look for therapists, which I did. So yeah, this new one. So two of them
Mm,
together.
I don't think we
Mm,
had enough time to explore that, but I
mm,
think from that point when we had that discussion about workplace therapy up until now, it seems
mm,
like you're clearly a different person.
mm-hmm.
Um, and is that true? Do you feel different?
I am different. Like you should know now that I'm different. Like I feel different. I feel like my true self. Like so maybe we'll end this with this. So I feel like healing is not really about you being this new person. I feel like is about you returning back to who you who you were before the trauma, before the labels, before. So for me, it's more like a return back to who I really am. And it has been the most amazing journey for me. And I absolutely love who I am now. And I like her as well.
That is so beautiful to hear, Patience. It's been really nice speaking to you. Although it's been
Do you
literally just a
do
chat.
you
We
spend
have
this long with other people?
what happens is we aim to speak for like 30 minutes and then we end up speaking for like 1 hour 30 minutes. Averagely, if you check the other episodes, is actually been 1.5 hours, and the same thing happened here. But I sort of knew that this was going to we're not 30 minutes friends. Like
Mm-hmm,
sometimes we talk even like
mm-hmm,
regularly we talk more than 30 minutes
mm-hmm.
sometimes. So yeah, but I think it was a very fantastic conversation. I look
Thank
forward to
you very, very much.
coming on your own podcast
Yeah,
when you decide to start it as soon as possible.
yeah,
But I think the
yeah.
first set of steps is exams and then freedom after
Mm-hmm,
exams. I think that's one other conversation we should have. How it is
mm-hmm.
going after exams.
Yeah, yeah. After GP, like me, I want to travel for like me and self care. Just go somewhere.
Absolutely. What I would just
Yeah.
advise is get all your locums in now. Like get all the money that you need to travel. Like do all the A&E locums that you can do.
Mm.
The other side of this is not very. It's not what you expect.
In financially, ba.
Financially, it's not. It's not.
Mm.
It feels like a hamster's race, like a proper hamster's race.
Mm.
And I think I was part of what I've been like discussing. The two episodes previous or prior to this were with fellow GPs with how things are like right now.
Mm.
And of course, things may have changed by the time you come out. Things might change anytime soon. There's a new contract that's been forced down the GP land, but I am having to travel sometimes for like locums, which is where you're going to make the bulk of your money, not salary. I'm having to travel 2 hours, like four
Wow.
hours during the day, like 2 hours to the place, and then 4 hours, and then 2 hours back to do
Mm.
like a 2 or 3 hour locum at,
Mm.
let's say, sometimes at £75 an hour. So if you do
Wow.
that, you've done 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Take away the money for
Oh,
your
well.
your transport. Maybe you're going to use the
Mm-hmm.
laundry way as well, and then calculate
Mm.
how much that's left. So it's a discussion we'll have
Mm.
um
Yeah.
after your exams. Thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
All right, Kola. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye bye.